The Board of Trustees of the Harris County Department of Education is now convened in a board meeting on Wednesday, September 20th, 2017 in the boardroom at 6300 Irvington Boulevard, Texas at 1:12 p.m. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present in this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the department are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on today's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by sections 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us and for your interest in the Harris County Department of Education. So we'll start with the invocation. Roberta Scott, Center for Safe and Secure Schools.
Let us pray. Lord, we're meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Amen. Artilla Houghton for Center for Safe and Secure Schools will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag.
Good afternoon. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, I'd like to recognize the visitors that signed up. We have Hal Kaplan, Rob Bryan, Josh Wallenstein, Ray Natteray, Joseph Lee, and David Wilson. And we have 4 people that are signed up to address the board. We'll start with Josh Wallenstein.
Trustees, thank you for your time and also thank you for your hard work and dedication to the cause of public education. I know it's not particularly well compensated, but it's crucial to our county's children, so thank you for that. My name is Josh Wallenstein, and as you, I am fully behind our county's public schools and recognize the value of an education for our county's kids. And that's why I'm running for position 3 at large to join you and sit alongside you next year. This Department of Education is the unsung hero of our county's public schools. It provides essential services for the least fortunate among us in the most cost-efficient and effective way possible. You're really giving kids that necessary hand to get the education that they deserve. And so thank you again for the service that you provide to our schools and our children. Now, in order to maximize the value of taxpayer proceeds and minimize any conflicts of interest, the department must be run ethically and in adherence to its own policies and, frankly, common sense. I'm a compliance attorney, and I'm running in part to ensure that this department is run in a compliant fashion. I'm also aware that based on faulty logic around taxation, there's a movement to hamstring or even eliminate this department. Well, I'm also a taxpayer, and I'm also a father to a child, Noah, who will be attending public school next fall. And I'm running to ensure that the department continue its good work both for my kiddo and the rest of our county's kids. I'd be happy to continue this discussion either on Facebook at Vote Josh Wallenstein or by email at votejw@yahoo.com. My name is Josh Wallenstein again, and I want to thank all of you for your service to our communities and for our children.
Marilyn Burgess next. There she is. Hello.
Good afternoon. My name is Marilyn Burgess, and I'm a Harris County resident. I'm here to discuss the board's naming a building after board member Michael Wolf's mother and to discuss an agenda item before you today. Spending taxpayer money to erect a sign on a Harris County Board of Education building with Ethel Wolf's name. Some issues that arise in a public arena are extraordinarily complex, and policymakers find themselves in a gray area. The issue before the board today is not one of those. Board member Wolf has tried to muddy the waters by making irrelevant, weird comments about the Civil War and the source of payment for the sign. These issues are not germane. The issue before you is simple. Naming a Board of Education building after the mother of a trustee was abuse of board member Wolf's power and a disgraceful decision by this board. Voters elect public officials to carry out the duties of their office, not to exercise their powers for self-promotion or the promotion of their family members. Such blatant self-promotion by an elected official is extremely distasteful, if not immoral. Michael Wolf can honor his mother in any way he wants on his own time and with his own money, but he should not be allowed to do so with public tax dollars. Having Harris County taxpayers honor his mother is a transparent abuse of power. There are many residents of Harris County with parents who served for decades as excellent teachers, but none of those residents, except for board member Wolf, has the ability or the arrogance to get a Board of Education building named after a parent. So I urge this board to vote against putting up a sign saying the building is the Ethel Wolf building, and I further urge this board to rescind naming that building after Ethel Wolf. Thank you.
Just to address one thing, is just so everybody knows, the cost that was put on the agenda does cover the installation of the sign as well as the naming, but the naming of the sign, the actual name on the building, is being covered by private donations. No taxpayer money will be used to put the name on the sign, on the building. So just so you know that. Okay. Matt Malief.
Thank you. I am also here to oppose naming the HCDE facility after Michael Wolf's mother. After the last meeting, Michael Wolf released the following statement to Ted Oberg. He said, "It's a breath of fresh air that the trustees honored a teacher when so many these days are wanting to refight the American Civil War." I don't even know what that statement means. I feel like after Charlottesville, the only people who seem to want to refight the Civil War are those who think the wrong side won and that the Confederates should have won. But more telling, I think Michael Wolf, as a member of this board, it says on your board policy you are required to care about public education and doing that which you can to further public education. Yet he seems to think that many of the public teachers that are public education teachers that are represented by this board are on the wrong side of the Civil War. At the very least, that is problematic. Also, I'd just like to point out, if I submit a resume for a job with the HCDE, I get a job, and then it comes out that somewhere on my resume I lied about a qualification I have, that is immediate grounds for termination in any job, rightfully so. And as I brought up last meeting, Michael Wolf depicted on his board profile that he was some type of a licensed attorney. When asked about it or when confronted about it, he said he had no knowledge that this was there, which is, it has to be another lie, or at the very least it's negligence, about how his profile could indicate such a statement. If such lies would yield termination for any employee of this board, how should it affect a board member? At the very least, Mike Wolf should not be rewarded. He should be penalized for lying. For these reasons, I ask that you do the right thing, adhere to your own naming policy, voting against the naming provision here from Ethel Wolf. Thank you.
Jonathan Miller.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Miller. I am a chemical engineer and oversee production at my site. I wanted to come and speak today because our young Americans' education needs to be one of the most important topics we focus on. As I would hope, the board is aware that this country is heading into an employment disaster. 3 factors are changing our employment environment: lack of training and skills needed for 21st century jobs, automation, and globalization. Investments and focus in education is critical to address these three factors so we can have a vibrant economic future. We know every year education budgets get squeezed and squeezed. With that, it means we have to be financially responsible and evaluate the efficiency of every penny spent. Spending money on renaming buildings for family pride or debating whether the board should pay its bills is unethical and an insult to 4.4 million citizens in Harris County. The fact that we have schools so damaged by Hurricane Harvey that they will not be open for a whole year, it is unethical to put 1 cent to renaming a building for family pride. So I ask today that the board thinks about what example it wants to show this generation of Americans when it votes today. Do we want to help the pride of one family, or for 44 million people so we spend the most money to help as many children as possible? Thank you.
This is where you want to talk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're going to recognize the superintendent this time.
Thank you, Chairman Evans. A couple of things. I normally don't do superintendent reports, but I wanted to acknowledge some significant events. Obviously, we have just, we're on our way to recovery to one of the most historic tropical storms that Harris County has ever seen. I personally live in Kingwood, so I personally did have 4.5 feet of water in front of my home. I personally witnessed people traveling in boats down streets, and you know it's something bad when the HEB shuts down. And so, but there was more effect than just that, than just the HEBs and people's houses and trees. Ultimately, we have some folks whose lives have been impacted, perhaps permanently. Bringing it down and paring it down to Harris County Department of Ed, we have several employees who have lost everything. And then we have those who've just lost their vehicle, which seems like everything. Never have I seen so many Uber cars transporting people to work. But transitioning into just a point of pride of our staff that despite all of that, we were able to open school late. But the significance is for students to not know that there was ever a storm at all. I'd like to take my hat off to both our staff at our special schools, our Head Start campuses, all of our occupational, our special ed therapists who work with students, who have just done an exceptional job of displaying the highest level of professionalism as they transition, out of this storm. Specifically for HCDE, we have an employee, what do we call it, an employee assistance fund. We're in the process of coordinating an opportunity for people to get deductions out of their payroll to help some of our employees transition, especially those who've lost cars and have difficulty. That we have employees who are still living in shelters. And so I'm going to invite all of our employees to try to take part in that and to assist us with that. One final note, I think it was maybe 2 board meetings ago, and this is unrelated to the storm, the board actually approved for students to attend a trip to Washington, D.C., which with our Scholastic program. And from everything I've heard, that was an excellent trip. I would just want to personally thank Trustee Moore and Trustee Dick for personally giving contributions to ensure that all the students were able to attend that trip. So thank you. That's all I have at this time, sir.
All right. So we have reports and presentations, announcements of awards from Government Finance Officers, Officer Association. Is that you, Dr. Muska? All right.
We're passing out a copy of the award that we received for the popular annual financial report. This is the PAFR that we received annually, and we received this for the 8th year in a row. And so just provide notification of that, and want to thank our staff and communications and all the divisions that worked on that particular report. Thank you.
The annual update of the HCDE Center for Safe and Secure Schools Division. Ecomat Burley.
E-comment. E-comment.
All right.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustee members, Superintendent Colbert. It's my pleasure to come this day as Director for the Center for Safe and Secure Schools to present our annual board review of our performance this past year in the center. I'm very pleased to have this report to you. It's a good one. And I would like to begin for the newer board members, just by explaining who we are. We are a division in the Department just lost my thought there. In the Division of Education and Enrichment. And we were created in 1999 at the request of superintendents in Harris County to support their efforts to have safe and secure learning environments. Our vision, quite frankly, is to be a resource for our schools in Harris County and to have cutting-edge professional development in the area of safety and security for our member districts. And also we have a vision to reach out statewide and increase our footprint there. Some of our core beliefs, I listed several for you, but three that we feel are very impactful and really guide and inform our work that we do with our teachers in the district. First is that safety should be a priority for all educators, and we know from research that kids have to have a safe learning environment in order for them to learn. We want to empower every teacher with skills to have good positive behavior in the classroom. And finally, we feel strongly that teachers and other educators must teach kids the behavior they want to see demonstrated. You can't assume that kids come to the schoolhouse door with appropriate behavior. We actually believe that it must be taught, just like any subject. Organizationally, we're small, but we pack a mighty punch. So today, it's my pleasure to introduce my colleagues today. I'm very proud of them. Last year, I went to the superintendent to do some reorganization, and it has paid off. So if I'm going to have my staff to stand at this time, and let me recognize them, please. All right. Since we are small, I want to recognize each one of them, starting with our school safety coordinator, Ms. Artelia Houghton. Dr. Roberta Scott is our school safety solution specialist. And the new kid on the block from Workforce Solutions is our intern, Mr. Aris Woodard. Thank you. Here's what we do. We conduct mandatory safety audits. Chapter 37-108 of the Education Code requires every public school district to have all of their facilities audited every 3 years. And we've been instrumental in helping them meet that mandate. We had a banner year. We doubled the number of audits we did over last year, so we were quite pleased with that. We also act as a liaison for our agencies in the area with other emergency operations agencies in Harris County. We actually attend meetings monthly with these agencies and coordinate efforts with our school districts and any needs that our agencies have. I also work with the Public Health Department of Harris County and the City of Public Health Department. We also create networking opportunities for our member districts. We meet quarterly in a members operations board meeting to come there and talk about cutting edge changes in safety and security and give our member districts a chance to learn from each other. Internally, we have a function. We oversee the development of our emergency operations plans here internally. Our risk and safety management committees meet on a quarterly basis to discuss how we can improve and have a safe working and learning environment for our students and staff. We have memberships. 25 school districts pay a nominal fee for membership benefits. These are some of the benefits that we offer our member districts. One thing I note is that we do have a seat at TransStar. During an activation, we actually will man that seat during a catastrophic weather event. Guardian newsletter. New for the upcoming school year is that we want to do webinars. One of the things that we are challenged with at times is getting staff from our member districts to leave their jobs and come and spend a couple hours with us. So we're looking at new ways to deliver our training using new delivery models such as webinars, podcasts, and those type of things. We also are doing a lot of on-site training. One of our core services that we offer are our safety audits. And as I mentioned, we doubled those this past year. These are some of the districts that used our services. We audited a total of 295 sites, gross revenues just north of $400,000. Total number of students impacted indirectly were over 230,000 students. So that we're quite pleased with that. When we go out and audit a school site, these are some of the things that we look at. We have 5 areas that we assess. We do an intruder assessment where we actually try to enter the building without being detected. See, can we get by their security processes? We work from the outside to the inside. We end with a policy assessment, and we house all that data in an emergency response information portal called ERIP. Professional staff development, we offered professional staff development in the fall, spring, and summer. These are some of the topics that we offered and the number of meetings in each season of the year. Total attendees, 1,828. Trainings conducted for the year, 55. These were some of the comments that were given, particularly for our restorative discipline training, and I'd like to really highlight that we had a real breakthrough, a watershed kind of experience with restorative discipline practices. Houston ISD in particular used us quite a bit. We presented at their administrative institute. From that, we presented about 13 times at back-to-school in-services. Special presentations and events, we did 3. Our Discipline and Equity Conference was in the fall of 2006, and it ended in June with our Crime Stoppers and Center for Safe and Secure Schools Back-to-School Summit. We had between 150 and 200 attendees at these meetings. Statewide presentations, I mentioned to you we want to expand our footprint and our presence, and we doubled the number of presentations we did statewide, and so I'm quite pleased about that. And I want to thank Dr. Scott for her hard work in getting those applications in. Client satisfaction, our goal was to have 90% of our clients satisfied with our work and the services they receive. We met that objective. We had 91% of the clients who attended our professional development participants and general service clients who said that they were satisfied with the services we offered. Where are we going? Quite frankly, we want to be the best in the class and continue to reinvent ourselves and offer services that are value added to our member districts, continue to expand our footprint locally and statewide. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, annual update of the HCDE Facilities Division. Greg Luckenbach.
Thank you very much. We're I brought some help up here today because we're going to be talking about 2 divisions. And so we passed out the information to you, and I will not follow every slide, but I want to give you some of the highlights. So, thank you, JP. So first of all, I'd like to let you know that all 33 of our sites are opened and operating after Harvey. And it was a very interesting journey that we took, but I want to take my opportunity to give some thank yous and shout outs to some folks. I think as you look at the map of Harris County, you can understand the dilemma that we were in. But I want to tell you, as on Monday, our staff was ready to mobilize even during this storm, and thanks to Mr. Colbert, he kind of pulled the reins back and said, hold on just a minute. And but they were ready. But I want to tell you, by Wednesday morning, our staff was mobilized, and so I want to give a shout out to some folks, and then I'm going to turn it over to JP. He's going to tell you a little bit about some of our initiatives, and Jay will cover construction, and we'll do all that in the time frame given to us. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Colbert, Dr. Mesquez, and Sarah for your help during this time, because I called you a lot, I needed some guidance, and you guys were there. But I want to give a big shout out to several other folks, and I won't name everybody by name because we will have a barbecue, and I'll do that individually. But I do want to say Julie, would you stand up? Julie is our support staff, and Julie was there throughout the whole storm. I'd call her at midnight, 11 in the morning, early morning. She came in the office, fought through, even though she had damage herself. Thank you, Julie. I want to say thank you to our maintenance department. These men and women were ready to mobilize the day the storm blew in, but we made the decision to wait till Wednesday. But JP and I started working on mobilization Monday, as we started looking at our map and seeing where we could go and where we could not go. And so we began calling our folks and discussing with them their status, and by Wednesday our maintenance department was mobilized. I also want to thank our custodial department. Wednesday morning they were mobilized, and they were out doing remediation and taking care of issues that had arisen in many of the sites. And I want to thank our records management department, because you may think we were home every day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, they could not get out. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, records management was en route every day to Harris County working records transfers, no matter how deep the water was, except for 2 days that we couldn't get a boat to get us there, but they were willing to do that. Also, I want to thank our choice partners, Jeff. Where's Jeff? Jeff, you see, even though we were in a crisis, not all of our interlocal partners were in a crisis, and our services were still needed. And a number of our interlocal partners needed our services, and our choice partners group was there. So I want to say thank you to those folks for all their work, and I'm going to turn it over to JP, and he's going to talk to you about an initiative that we have.
In an ongoing effort to provide more transparency to the Facilities Division, one of our biggest accomplishments this past year has been the implementation of the School Dude work order system. In a few words, HCD employees can now submit and track the progress of their maintenance request from a single website. To date, we have provided training classes for several divisions and to utilize this new system, and are planning future training sessions until we have reached the entire organization, while always providing in-house technical support for any questions that arise on a day-to-day basis. We have over 1,700 work orders that have been created since January. We go through about creating 300 to 400 work orders a month. And what this slide shows, that with the importance of transparency comes the importance of details in every work order that is created. This graph with our values that are represented by the blue columns show that we are in the top 10 percentile across the nation in our K through 12 category of having quality of information documented in our work orders. And this also shows that 90% of our work orders are completed in less than 1 week. And with that, I'll hand it over to Jay Atkins, Director of Construction.
All right, construction feels like we did a bunch of work, and we did. The biggies are the LaPorte right-of-way. You guys were involved in this, approving this. This was a joint effort between us and the city of LaPorte. This is our LaPorte Head Start, which we own. We own this building, HCDE does. And the city was able to make this one way. That was great for the traffic, the horrible traffic that we have in here. And by improving this right-of-way, once upon a time this was grass. This was an abandoned right-of-way from the city. And we JV'd with them, joint ventured with them to convert everything to parking and ease of access from First Street to Second. We got 53 parking spaces out of it. Sweet deal. We put some elevators in. Those were fun projects. The one here is, I think it's better, Mr. Colbert. It's still needs a little bit of work, but it's always room for improvement in these elevators. I tell you what, those are tough projects. God bless these kids. We finally got a covered drop-off at ABS East. Just trust me, this was worth it. Y'all proved this back last year or so, and you know, on rainy days, it's hard to get those kids in these buildings, and thank God we got that done. This is new work for coming up. It's in design. It's completed, and I believe KQC is here. I know they are. I met Hal a while ago. It kicks off hopefully this month if another hurricane doesn't move in. This is our new Head Start, early Head Start. 5 infant toddler rooms, I believe, and 7. It's a big facility. It's our biggest Head Start yet. It's almost twice as big as Sheffield, which is about 11,000 square feet. This is about 20,000 square feet. Big project. ABS West, this is a conceptual drawing. We hope to get the architect approved for this project this month. Hopefully, again, we're in review, contract review, but our PFC will approve that, and we'll kick that off. It's a 4-month design phase. So big project. That site didn't flood, by the way. It did real well in the storm. And our Fortis Academy. This is the old High Point North campus. It is 75% complete in design, and we hope to open it. We will open it in January. And so we will come to y'all next month with a contract for construction. And I think that's it for facilities. Any questions for Greg or JP or myself?
Couple things. First, I certainly want to compliment your division. You know, throughout the storm, we had several buildings that got some water and some worse than others. But I'm telling you, our maintenance division was on it. I mean, I don't know how they even got to the buildings that got flooded because they had issues out in the road. But when we were at home watching the news, we had our maintenance and facilities division out in schools working to be able to get school open in time. And one of the things I told Greg is we have to be more open than we are closed, because not all of our school districts are closed. And they're going to want us to send us kids, so we need to get these things up and going. So kudos to you and your staff. Not only were they responsive, meaning timely and effective, but when you go into our facilities, folks, they are immaculate, as they should be. And that is a testament to your staff. And so I want to thank you both, all three of y'all personally, but please send word to the rest of the division, because I feel the same with them. So I just want to say that.
I'd like to say something too. I appreciate everything you did, because I know it was extraordinary times. And I was in constant contact with the superintendent here, which he was telling me everything you guys were doing. So kudos to y'all. Good job. Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, trustee.
This may be a side request. Kudos as well. Thank you so much. It means so much to our students and staff, all the work you did. Eventually, can we get a report of the total costs related to Harvey as far as the, restoration, repair, just so we can know man hours, just so we can know what kind of totals.
Because I know you guys told us at least $150,000 of damage was that was the preliminary estimate, so I bet it went over that.
Yes, in totality, when we talk about everything, and we're preparing that now to collect all the PCARD and all the reports, and we're also working on with our report to our insurance folks. And yes, ma'am, we will get that to you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. All right, so we have the annual update on HCDE Teaching and Learning Center. Frances Watson Hester, Senior Director.
Good afternoon. I am Frances Hester, the Senior Director for the Teaching and Learning Center. Thank you for this opportunity to present TLC's end-of-year report. I have provided a copy of this presentation in your board packets. At this time, I would like to introduce my staff. TLC, would you please stand? Without them, none of this work would be possible. So let's please appreciate the Teaching and Learning Center staff. Thank you very much. At this time, I would love to share my presentation with you. The focus of the Teaching and Learning Center is to provide quality professional development. We believe in improving student achievement one teacher at a time. Our services and programs, just to name a few, a few, ELA, English Language Arts, Science, Mathematics, Social Studies, Dyslexia, etc. Our impact on student achievement: 4 to 6 weeks after each workshop is conducted, a survey is taken. We have found that 81.6% of attendees use the training within the first month, within 1 month. Our highlights: for special populations, the Teaching and Learning Center held its first Dyslexia Summit. The summit collaborated with experts in the field of dyslexia to raise awareness and deepen the level of understanding in the area of dyslexia. For digital education and innovation, we served 30,000 teachers through a digital learning environment this past year. In science, we received a $5,000 grant from the Susan Vaughn Foundation to create a new project, and the project will teach students GIS technology, and that's Geographic Information System, to strengthen community resilience in the face of extreme weather events. Our special events area, Harris County student artists and writers in grades 7 through 12 earned 50 National Scholastic Art and Writing Medals through awards announced by the New York nonprofit Alliance of Young Artists and Writers. The students advanced from a regional competition sponsored by Harris County Department of Education, and their artwork was demonstrated around the city. And also, Mr. Colbert mentioned that we had students that traveled to Washington, D.C., and their artwork was also displayed in Washington, D.C. In addition, this year, out of 100 regions across the country, our regional affiliate, Andrea Seagraves, was selected to receive the 2017 Gold Key for Educator Excellence Award. There is one Gold Key Award given a year in the nation. And I would like to show this little video.
So last night, the Empire State Building was lit in gold in your honor. So great, right? Our affiliate partners are the backbone of our operation. Their dedicated work at the regional level empowers hundreds of thousands of creative teens. So we're pleased to welcome the recipient of our Affiliate Award for Excellence in the Field, Andrea Seagraves, on behalf of the Harris County Department of Education in Texas. Congratulations.
Yay, yay. And that's Andrea with the students. We had 22 students that attended the art, right?
I'm sorry, can Andrea please stand up?
Please stand, Andrea.
All right.
Yay. So I'm gonna need one more minute on my time, okay? All right. So we had 22 students that attended the Art, Right, and Now exhibit at the United States Department of Education. These students were selected out of over 100 regions across the United States. There is a 1 in 5,000 chance of getting selected for this award. So we're very, very proud of Andrea and her hard work. So let's give her one more hand. For special events, the Teaching and Learning Center held its second annual Leadership Summit. The summit focused on developing leadership capacity, building relationships, and determining the professional learning needs of the 25 school districts in which we serve. Again this year, all Harris County districts participated in staff development. We've served 123 entities, which all included the 25 school districts. 56 districts were outside of Harris County. We also service charter schools, private schools, universities, museums, government agencies, and social service agencies. Our overall workshop rating was at 96.8% this year, so we surpassed our 90% goal. For the 7th year in a row, the area identified as the greatest strength was the expertise of the presenters. So we were at 99.1%. There were 3 other strengths that the survey showed. Useful applications for the professional work was at 98.7, organization 98.5, and overall effectiveness was high at 98.1. We're very proud again of our R.T. Garcia Early Childhood Winter Conference, which was our 32nd conference, and we served 1,000 plus educators. We also had volunteers and presenters and exhibitors there. The Teaching and Learning Center will continue to collaborate with organizations across Harris County, and I have several. For example, we have writing partnerships with Harris County teachers, Main Street Theater in collaboration with a Houston ISD Arts Grant, and Young Audiences of Houston for a grant collaboration. Again, we have several others. Our specialists have played a huge role in partnering in the community. We continue to present at various conferences, and you see Lisa Felsky over to the right side, and you kind of can't see her, but she's there with various educators in Harris County, so we're proud of that accomplishment. We have an array of new and continuing services and programs, but I would like to highlight just 2 or 3. One is provide both indirect and direct services to teachers and students. In the past, we were largely known for providing our indirect services to adult learners, but what we find is that adult learners need to continue to see good instruction. So with Nicole Shanahan, she led or created a bridge model, and with the bridge model, we actually go into classrooms and we work directly with teachers. So, with students, so teachers get an opportunity to see what good instruction looks like. We've also received reports back from various principals that with our direct services, their test scores, our STAR scores actually increased. So we saw one school indicated that their scores increased by 25%. Again, we want to continue with our face-to-face visits with the 25 school districts that we served. So we actually go out to the school districts and we build relationships and we listen to their needs and we share with them how we might address and serve them. Most recently, we were requested by Stafford Independent School District to come out and do their Back to School Institute, and we trained their entire school division in 2 days for back to school, getting prepared to work with students. Our trends and challenges, workshop attendance and contracts continue to grow. Although there are budget cuts, districts are still calling and using our services. Districts, instead of hiring staff members, they are contracting with the TLC, Teaching and Learning Center, to provide professional development, and the Teaching and Learning Center endeavors to identify and provide unique and high-needs services for clients to address the current trends and challenges that we face in education. At this time, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to entertain them.
You go back to the slide that showed all the kids.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite slide. We're almost there, right there.
That's all the ones that got to go to the conference?
We actually had 30 students interested, but 22 actually traveled to Washington, and it was for various reasons. For example, there were one school district that did not accept the absence, would not give them credit for the absence, and then we had a few students that had some conflicts.
Okay, and those, that's, as Superintendent
Yes,
Colbert
sir.
said earlier, those are the kids that Trustee Dick and Trustee Moore
Yes, sir,
helped send.
absolutely. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, this now is report of the Board Feasibility Subcommittee. Mr. Sumner.
This month, I don't have anything to report other than what we've heard here today previously. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, there are other reports from board members concerning attendance or participation in a board or HCD-related conference, event, activity, or committee. Accolades for HCD staff member or other deserving person. Yes, ma'am.
I attended the HCD convocation at the beginning of the school year along with President Lewis Evans, and just wanted to commend our superintendent for a great job and his staff, and wish all the staff a very successful school year.
I'd like to second that. I thought it was a pretty inspiring moment, and especially when the superintendent kind of bared his soul a little bit and talked about his brother, I guess. It was kind of let us know some of the challenges, but just to see the staff, their smiles, some of the ones I've seen, well, a number of years now, I guess. You know, it's kind of nice to see everybody get awards. So, again, we appreciate all you guys do, too. So, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'd like to give accolades to Dr. Mesqua and his team for doing payroll throughout the flooding and storm. One of the first questions I asked Mr. Colbert when I was able to reach him was about that, because even as you're flooding, you need money to pay for something, to get out, to do something. So thank you for wading in, flying in. I don't know how you all got in, but thank you for thinking of it and getting here. Thank you to our undercover board attorney for whatever legal advice she gave. She also had to float here for our emergency board meeting that we held so we could have a legally appropriate board meeting. And thank you, Mr. Colbert. I know you're only as great as your team, but thank you for having a great team. Thank you for keeping the board informed. and making every effort to be open for our school districts, students. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, well, thank y'all. Okay, the monthly financial statements, Mr. Mesqua, or Dr. Mesqua.
This is the 12th month of the year for FY17. This is unaudited numbers. We're still in the process of doing the external audit and closing of the books and what have you. So these are preliminary numbers of how the 12-month will look at the end of the year. All our financial statements are posted online. And our balance sheet as of August 31st projected $31,289,554, liabilities of $2,063,131, and equity of $31,289,554. Again, our fund balance as of 9/1 is $28,147,085 in the different categories. Again, we will have the final end of the year once we have all the auditor's adjustments or any end of the year adjustments that we have to make for closeout of the year. Our ratios, again, these are tentative ratios as of the end of the year because there may be some adjustments that we'd have to make. So on assigned fund balance, we're at 30%. We're budgeted at 18%, and we're at 33% last year. Working capital ratio, we're at 29 million versus 30 million at the end of the year last year. Our unassigned fund balance ratio, we're at 49%, a little bit better than we were a year ago at the same time. Debt to income ratio, we're at 8%, up from 6% last year. Our tax revenue to total tax revenue ratio, we're at 23%, down from 26% a year ago. Indirect cost ratio, we're at 3%, same as last year. Our fee-for-service ratio, 21%, down from 23% a year ago. Fee-for-service revenue growth ratio, we're at 3%, and that reversed last year's down of 5%. Our budgeted activity, this is our budget amendments that you approve each month, and so those that's a summary of all each month's budget amendments that have come before the board. Our revenues year to date, we're at $46,325,119, or 94% of our budget. Overall, we're at 81% from budget to actual. And special revenues, again, there's a lag in special revenues because we collect that in the following month. These are our budget amendments throughout the year. Our expenditures, we're at 82% in the general fund, and we have about $500,000 in encumbrances. And again, some of the expenditures have also not planned out for the year, so we're at 73% overall. Our donations report, we're at, for 17 year-to-date, $67,490, cash of $4,303, and in-kind of $63,187. And some of the donations for this month were for Head Start, primarily Head Start, the different centers, and TOC as well. This is, well, kind of tiny, but it's the progression of the certified values from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And so at the end of the year, we're at $418,312,612. And later on, we'll talk about what the values that were certified by the appraisal district. Year-to-date collections, we're at $21,734,000, 100%. HCAD fees, $159,000, $825. Tax office fees, $419,860. Disbursements for the month were $3,968,493, 651 checks, 359 transactions, and 7 transfers. Our segment division, we have education certification minus $406,535, a lot of startup costs for the current year. Records management, $99,476. School-based therapy, $1,327,395. running pretty much at almost an 85% ratio. Schools at 2,305,520, again running about an 85% ratio. And then we have choice partners, profitability of 58%, a strong profitability variance of 2,539,333 that comes from choice to the general fund. Our amendments for general fund, we have none. For special revenue of some grants, we have some rollover funds of 540,000 from 21st Century Grant for TXBSN and some of the Head Start projects that we're either reducing or doing a roll forward to the following year because they're grants, and that's a net amount of 540,822. In construction, the only update is that we're in the process of finalizing the architect's contract to bring a PFC meeting for the signature and then proceed with a signature of that contract. Questions before I go into the investment report? On the investment report, we have, as of August 31st, we have a total portfolio of 39,442,019, of which $10,874,005 is in the Public Facilities Corporation, and so most of it are in the investment pools. So we have 23% at Chase, 9% in the Lone Star, 5% in the Tex Pool, and 63% in Techstar. The PFC, we have it at 99% at Tex Pool, JP Morgan Chase, and then Bank of Texas 1%. The comparison from a year ago, we're at 9.9 million or 34% change, and primarily is the PFC funds that we have from a year ago. Otherwise, we would have about 932,000 less in just in the other funds for the department. Pretty much all our investments are overnight at 28.5, and year-to-date earnings have been 139,528, and in the PFC 30,951. Our yield is 1.006, and it's a weighted average of 1 day. And you can see here the progression of where right now we're just broke the 1% barrier. We were almost at 9 basis points about a year ago. So you've seen the change trend in this last 12 months that has gone up from 10 basis points to 1%, almost 90 basis points increase in a 1 month period. That's the report for the month of August.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go on the action items consensus, I believe you have some dates to give us for revisions on C1, 2, and 3. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
You have dates, revised dates for C1, 2, and 3?
C1, 2, and 3. I don't have. Yes. I need to find them though. Give me a second.
I believe I have them.
Do you have them?
August 28th.
28th.
2017, through June 6th, 2018.
So that's the first one?
That's actually for all three of them.
So August 28th of 17 through June 6th of 18 is for all of them?
That's currently what it says.
Well, no, it
Yeah.
says July. It says July 6th of 18. She said it goes to June. So everyone's one of those is going to have an ending date of June 6th. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And even the one on the bottom, the one that was saying the 13th, that's going to go back to the 6th. And same thing as the start date for number 3. It's going to be the 28th. That's correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so everybody has the revised dates. So do I have a motion on the consensus items?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Do I have any discussion or anybody need to reserve anything? Dr. Troutman?
I would like to reserve, let's see, G1 and also D1.
G1 and D1?
Correct.
I will need to reserve B2 and 3. Anybody else? I see her looking, so I'm waiting to see. We're good? Okay. Everybody else? All right, hearing no further discussion, we need to vote on the action item consensus with the exception of G1, D1, B2, and B3. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, motion passes unanimously. So we'll take these separately. Is it okay if I go in order, Dr. Troutman, or would you like to do yours first? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the B2 and 3 together because I wasn't here, so that's why I'm reserving them. So I'd like to vote on B2 and B3. All in favor, please, oh, excuse me, I need a motion.
And I make the motion.
Okay, I got a motion. Got a second by Mr. Wolf. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? All opposed, and I abstain. Okay, we're gonna go to G1. D1, I'm sorry. I got it written down that way. D1. Do I have a motion by Dr. Troutman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Trustee Lee Carter. Any discussion?
Yes, I was just wondering if somebody could give us a little more description on Avondale House.
Avondale House is a 501(c) facility that we've contracted with for a long time. They provide services to children primarily with autism, and we provide OT services to that facility.
Great, thank you very much.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. All in favor, please raise your hand. Good. Motion passes unanimously. That was G1, wasn't it?
So moved.
By Dr. Troutman. I'll second it. Any discussion?
Yes, my question is, and I've met some of these young people before the Vistas, what are the qualifications for them?
So the Vistas are providing service. They're usually traditionally finished an undergrad and are in transition before they go back into education and a master. That's pretty common. Some are maybe still in their undergrad process, but they apply to the One Star Foundation. Actually, they applied nationally to become a Vista, and then they select projects that are happening in the community they want to serve in. And so then our project will be there. They'll post that. They will go through the screening from One Star Foundation, who is actually the grant recipient, and then we interview them just like we would a professional and offer the services. They are actually employed by One Star Foundation. This is and very much like a grant award. We are awarded them, and then we contribute a match to One Star for their living stipend because they're not actually an employee.
They get living expenses plus.
So they get a month-to-month living expenses based on a number of hours served during their term, and then at the end, once they complete an aggregate number, they are then get an educational award that can pay back educational loans or pay forward tuition.
It's a great experience. Thank you.
Anybody else? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we will now go to the action items non-consensus. Dr. Mesker, are you ready? Okay. We're going to discuss the truth in taxation calculations effective. Yes, ma'am.
I have a request before we start on the action items, to make a motion to move the item 7I to the beginning of the action items, because we did have some people here today that came to speak about it. I think it would be nice to let them see this instead of making them wait.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. Do I have any discussion? Okay, we will move. Okay, all in favor of bringing this up first, please raise your hand. Go ahead. Okay, all opposed? Motion fails. No action. Yeah, okay, no action. All right, so we will now go to Dr. Amesqua.
Okay, I'm going through the regular presentation. I've updated with the numbers. This is the budget that was adopted on July the 16th. Part of that budget is the estimated revenues of $50,772,631. Within that number is a budgeted number of $22,200,000, I believe was $263,000. The budgetary assumptions that we made during the budget included a growth of 3%, plus other planned expenditures and a balanced approach, and a business model, and including some positions that are funded in our budget, which are tax rate funds. Our definitions for setting the tax rate: the current nominal rate is 0.0052. The effective tax rate in fiscal year 16 was 0.005301. The effective tax rate in this year is 0.005236. The rollback rate is 0.005654, and the recommended after our budget meeting is 0.005195, which will be below the current nominal rate of 0.005200. Therefore, the total tax rate, since we don't have a debt service rate, it will be 0.005195.
Would you like to repeat that?
Yes.
It sounds like we're going down in tax, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
What that does is basically the effect is about 1 penny less from the current year. On a $200,000 home, it'll be from 1040 to 1039. And so the rate would basically be 0.005195, which would be below our current nominal rate.
I have a question.
Yes,
Are
sir.
any other entities that we know of actually going down on their tax rate?
Not that we're aware of.
And actually, it would be a correct statement to say that the other governmental entities, like for the city of Houston, they're probably going up in their tax rate?
Everything that I have heard so far is that there are going to be some type of an increase in their projections.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Evans. Once again, this is the third year we are presenting a tax rate to our trustees that is below the effective tax rates. I think probably the more significant thing about us being able to do this, one, obviously we are illustrating good stewardship of taxpayer dollars, but probably the most profound and impressive thing that never really gets talked about is Harris County Department of Ed has been able to increase our scope of services, to increase the service area, meaning individuals that we actually reach out and touch and assist. Mm-hmm. And we've been able to do all of this without asking for additional money. This is a testament to our business model that is efficient, it is systemic, but it's also us trying to be good steward of taxpayer dollars, where we are only utilizing the money that we need to continue to provide the services that we do to our client ISDs and the other affiliates that we work with. So people can complain about many things that we do. They seemingly never complain about that. In fact, it actually never gets mentioned. And so I wanted to make sure that I was bringing it up prior to our board approving, once again, a tax rate below the effective tax rate.
Right. I'd like to point out that there's two major assumptions. One is that we are expecting that 95% of our uncertified values come into play, which is at 36 billion. And second, that we have a collection rate better than 98%. Those two, and we will monitor those every month. You'll have monthly reports, and we'll see how we're doing in that projection. Now, because the proposed rate is below the effective tax rate, what we have published is the effective tax rate, so the Board of Trustees can adopt the rate without any further hearing or notice at this time. It's also able for any public comments because we published that in the newspaper.
Anybody have any questions?
Sorry, were you saying we're not taking public comments because it was in the newspaper?
Oh, no, you can.
Oh, we can right
Yeah.
now? Oh,
Yes.
okay, that was unclear.
So the public can comment on this as well?
Sure.
Okay. You have anything to say?
We've done I think we're doing an excellent job, and I think in a time when a lot of people are damaged, where their homes are damaged and they're struggling, I think it's good of us not to increase taxes, even though it'd be a nominal amount. I think it's in principle, we show the public that we hear you and we are concerned. I thank all of us for working together and doing this.
Anybody else? Thank you, Dr. Amaska.
Thank you. Just need a motion.
Just need a motion, right? Got a motion by Dr. Trout.
I'll second it. Do we need to make an amendment?
Motion to approve. Just read that right there, it's pros.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the effective tax rate at .005195 for the fiscal year 2018.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Second by Trustee Dick.
I don't think that motion is proper. It's not the effective tax
Right,
rate.
that's correct. It is to approve just the tax rate.
Yeah.
Let me just.
Just say the tax rate of. Right.
There you go.
Okay, I
Thank
would
you.
like to amend the motion to approve the tax rate. What did you want me to say?
Just read that.
Oh, the tax rate of .005195 for fiscal year 2018.
I'd second that.
Still second?
Yeah, I'd still second that. Be a friendly amendment.
All right. Anybody else have anything to discuss? No, let's have a
Hang on
vote.
for a second.
Sir?
It's tax year 2017. It's not the fiscal year.
Oh.
Hold on, before we move forward, is there any other corrections we need to make, Mr. Sumners? I mean, did you catch any other typos?
Tax year 17.
For tax year 17 FY 2018, is that correct, Mr. Sumner?
Is that agreeable to you, Dr. Troutner?
Put a 2-0 in front of that.
Agreeable to me.
Any others? Trustee Sumners? We good? Okay. Okay. All in favor of adopting this tax rate, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. So we're going to go to 7B. Consider approval of resolution amending the authorized representatives in the Lone Star Tax Pool and Techstar Investment Pool due to a change in investment responsibilities in the business office. Do I have a motion? By Dr. Troutman. I'll second it. Do I have any discussion? I guess the question is, who are we doing this for, Dr. Vasquez?
It's for our new senior accountant, Stephanie Ricci.
So she's going to be a representative now?
Mm-hmm.
What is her name again, Stephanie?
Stephanie Ricci. It's in listed in the agenda.
Okay, I'm just not looking at it right here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do I have any other discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. That motion passes unanimously. All right. Consider approval of amendment to lease agreement between HCDE and KQC Investors, Inc. relating to lease of Baytown Head Start facility. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A motion by trustee Lee Carter. Got a second by Dr. Troutman. Do I have any discussion? Mr. Wolf?
I would just like to hear an update on that situation. Trying to remember, is that the one we had the problems? Okay, I keep confusing that.
This is the brand new.
All right.
Okay. Not the old one. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Well, she's gonna talk while you look.
In fact, Mr. Wolf is going to replace that.
Okay, good.
Go ahead.
Sarah or Ms. Peacock clarify, because I thought we were building a facility, so I'm a little confused on what we're doing.
Sure. We have a quick briefing regarding this project. This is an RFP that 16013 YR awarded to KQC Investors. This is an amendment to the lease. We have basically, this is to house a facility of 20,000 square foot facility, approximately 180 students, and the lease per month would be $21,162 for the first 5 years, and then CPI adjustment thereafter for a 20-year lease. We also have equipment and movable furniture that were included in the lease. The substantial completion date is August 1st, 2018. This is to replace the current leases that we have of HT Land and HT Pruitt once this facility gets completed. And what I provided to you in that slide is what we're currently paying in the square footage that we're leasing in the two other facilities. This basically consolidates the two into one location and improves the facility. And also gives you where the location of that is 323 Massey Tompkins Road.
It's approximately 1 mile, it's approximately 1 mile from where the current two facilities are, so none of our parents will be displaced and unable to come to the new facility.
The location, and you'll see a couple of the concept renderings in the PowerPoint of the proposed facility. And then in the last two slides, you have there's 7 classrooms and 5 early childhood classrooms, and this is the floor plan for the facility. And yes.
Also, there's the funding from this came from the new EHSCCP grant and from the Head Start grant. So also our child care partner staff, there'll be offices for our child care partner staff. And as a requirement of the second grant, there's a training room because there's an expectation that we will invite the child care facilities in the community to come and partake of the training that will be provided with the fundings that we received in the initial EHSCCP or Early Head Start Child Care Partnership grant.
And then the site plan, this is what the overall site plan looks like in Baytown. And we have in the audience Hal Kaplan and Rob Ryan from KQC Investors that are part of the lease, that they're available for any questions regarding the project.
Sumner?
Is this rent being paid for by the federal government?
The rent will be fully funded by the Head Start grant.
I have a couple of questions about, if everybody turned to page 448 in their book, all the trustees. We have a chart here of the original RFP lease showing a total cost of $4,494,281. We have an amended cost of $4,745,429, which is, I assume, the reason for the increase in the rental. And I really have a question about two categories that were added to the amended that were not even covered in the original lease proposal, one of which is architectural and the other is financing costs. Is is this your financing cost here that's $80,000 that's put in?
Let me get that copy.
To your question regarding the financing cost, yes, it is our financing cost.
Okay, so is there some reason that you were able to put this in on an amendment when it wasn't included in the original RFP?
I think what we did, it was included, but we broke it out this time to show exactly what we're expending on everything. If you'll notice.
Per category?
Yeah, if you'll notice, we broke the site work originally was $250,000. Yeah.
275.
Right.
Yeah.
And in our building cost, we included architectural fees originally, and our interest expense. But when we went back, we were able to negotiate a better price for the building construction. However, we had an increase of about $400,000 in site work, and that was based on new requirements from Baytown. Originally, we didn't have to build the size retention pond that we now are required to do. We had to go back and bring lines from Massey-Tompkin up the back of this property, which originally we were going to have an easement. They had issues with our easement. When we first started the project, everybody was holding hands and kumbaya, and then as we got into the project, things changed in Baytown. We were there this morning and we asked neighbors around that area about the water and the damages in that area, and that area did not receive any significant damage at all, so we were happy about that.
Okay.
But we just kind of broke this out so everybody could see exactly what we were doing.
Okay, so you had a change in the requirements between the original RFP and the current time.
And we had that stated in our RFP that if we ran into issues in site work, that we could make an adjustment.
All right, thank you very much.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know who this question is for, but I actually don't understand the funding model that's there. We're helping, who's building that? Why are we leasing it and not buying it? Who's building it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The model that we're using and why we went out for an RFP is because these particular Head Start funds can be used for leasing, but cannot be used for capital improvements directly, such that we could not build a building on our own, which is why we went out for an RFP to find someone who would build a building and then lease it back to us, which is what KQC specializes in. This is I believe our third endeavor with KQC. And they've done it also, my understanding is, across the country for Head Starts. And I just want to point out, too, that increased cost, Mr. Sumner's asked that same question as did Dr. Amesqua, and that the increased cost there is not all being passed on to us. KQC is absorbing some of that increased cost as well, the majority of it, actually. Does that answer your question?
Did I read that we are also, though, using some of our own money for leasehold improvements?
No, we're using
I mean, we're
equipment.
Government money, but it's separate from this lease agreement. Okay.
Anybody else? Guess we need to vote on it, don't we? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. And Ms. Peacock, okay. Okay, consider the following local policies on second reading and final approval. It's BAA, CDC, CFB, CH, CI, CJ, CQ, DC, DEE, DFAA, DFBA, DGBA, GE, GKB, and GKG. Sound like I just read an alphabet, doesn't it?
That'd be good.
Do I have a motion? Got a motion by Dr. Troutman. Do I have a second? Second by trustee Lee Crowder. Do I have any discussion?
I do not.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Ask a question if you just,
Sir, I'm
you're
absolutely-
dying to be up there.
No, I'm not. Please move forward, Mr. President.
All right. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. I'm sorry, Mr. Wynn, we didn't have to.
I do have one request. If you would all leave your white binders so I can reuse them, we'd appreciate it. We're trying to be fiscally conservative here and not create new binders each time. Thank you.
All right. Going green, all right. Consider approval of a revenue contract in the amount of $252,637 with Region 10 Education Service Center to provide central operations, support, and transition services for the Texel Virtual School Network for the period of 9/1 of 17 through 12/31 of 17. Do I have a motion? So moved by Mr. Dick. I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, please raise your hand if you approve. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, consider approval of modification of 2017-2018 adult education supplemental salary schedule for part-time teachers and staff. The supplemental schedule would provide pay increases for teachers and staff in the range of $1 to $2 per hour. This cost is to be charged to federal funds. Do I have a motion? Got a motion by trustee Dick. I'll second it. Do I have any discussion? Mr. Wolf?
Let her go first.
Eric was first?
Is this a one-time, like, will it go down the next school year? I don't know who I'm looking at Mr. Colbert, but I'm trying to understand if this is a one-time amount or
Is that gonna be Natasha?
be maintained?
No, these will be the rates that staff will continue to receive. If you may recall, TASB at the beginning of the year, they conducted a review of our salary schedules. And when they met with the board, I believe in June during the budget workshop, they shared with the board that our wages for adult education lagged the market. We weren't competitive. So they recommended that we increase the hourly rate for our part-time staff. And Dr. Honnold was able to reallocate some funds within his budget to adjust rates for the staff. And so these will be permanent hourly rate changes for the part-time staff.
No. Yeah.
Oh, so this is all employees, Head Start, everybody?
No, just for adult education.
Okay.
They hear no more discussion. We will vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, consider approval of service contract for Choice Consultant Services, job number 15/053 KJ with the following vendors. Elder Consulting in amount not to exceed $72,000, F&S Calhoun Consulting in amount not to exceed $71,000, and let's see, for the period of 9/1 of 17 through 8/31 of 18. Do I have a motion? So move. I'll start it off. Anybody have a second? Got a second by Dr. Troutman. Do I have a discussion?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sumner? What? You want to say something? Okay. Okay, Mr. Sumner, go ahead.
Okay. I noticed in neither of these contracts, which are, of course, the same, that there's any provision for the consultants making routine or reports back to the department as to their activities. Is this a practice that has been covered but is not in the contract, or it looks to me like we need some kind of a situation where they actually have to tell us what they're doing and what their success has been.
Very, very good comments, and I totally agree with you. We do collect weekly and/or monthly reports. We refer to them as a call report or an activity report, stating where they've been, who they've talked to, the actual content of conversations, any specific projects, and details of their visits on a regular basis.
Okay. Is there some way that we can put that in? I noticed that the consultants have already signed the contracts.
Trustee Sumners, if you turn to page 470, number 8, under scope of work, states that report progress to the Director of Choice Partners weekly or as assigned.
Okay.
With face-to-face meeting as
I
assigned.
missed that part.
I think we had
Just wondering, I know Elder, we've had before, is this a new one, the FNS Calhoun, or is it this?
No, Fred has been with us for
A
quite a
while.
while. He's
Okay.
located in the Dallas area.
And are these maximum amounts, how do they compare with last year's?
Oh, geez. How are you asking me to be smart? They're more or less the same as they have been for a number of years, and we base them on work days and kind of a ratio of the daily rate and expenses and kind of back into the formula based on the weeks per year and taking the time off that we as HCDE take off, such as the spring break and things like that.
Is the same that you used last year then?
I can't tell you exactly, but I think it's pretty close, if
Just
it's
different
not
days.
exactly the
Okay.
same. It's within a very tight window of
I guess what I'm
we did last
asking
year.
is, are they getting a raise from the last time?
The daily rate's the same, no.
That's it. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
questions? Nope. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? All abstain? So we have it 5, 4, and 1 abstention. Okay, consider the approval for ACD Head Start's 2018 continuation grant request for funding in the amount of $12,248,162 for the project period of 1/1 of 18 through 12/31 of 18. Do I have a motion? Got a motion by trustee Dick.
Second.
And a second by trustee Wolf. Have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, please raise your hand. You're for it? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Consider removing from the table item 8.0, non-consensus from the August 16, 2017 Board of Trustees meeting. Do I have a motion?
Louis, I'd like to move to indefinitely table this agenda item.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Wolf. I got a second from Dr. Troutman. Do I have any discussion?
Call the question.
Okay. Okay, call the question, so I have to vote on that, right? No? A second to call the question? Okay, well, I'll second that then. I'll second it. Let's get this. All right? So, we have to, the motion is to permanently table, well, not permanently, indefinitely.
Vote on the question.
Oh, vote on call the question first, right, okay. All right, so, please, if you're in favor of calling the question, please raise your hand. Okay, if you're opposed, all right, so motion passes 5-1, we have one opposed. Right, so the motion is to permanently or indefinitely table this, this agenda item. If you're in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, if you're opposed, so again, the motion passes 5-1 with no abstentions. All right. Consider and possible action on proposed RFP for political consultant services. Do I have a motion? Got a motion by Mr. Dick. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Wolf. All right. Do I have any discussion?
Do we have a proposed
Yeah.
There's none in my agenda.
What is this? Right here.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this.
Can I say something real quick? The last board meeting, y'all had requested for us to bring basically a framework for an RFP. And I believe, if I'm correct, that the trustees were going to redefine that or define it, so determine how we would proceed moving forward. So What's being handed out is really a skeleton of a template that we've used previously for political consultants. And the expectation today was for y'all to give input on what it should look like, and then y'all could determine whether this was something that you wanted us to put out there or not.
I'd like, my motion to table would be for next month, since we have not had a chance to look at this or review it.
Okay, any other discussion?
My discussion would be that something like this should be in a committee meeting too, if we're gonna discuss details of an RFP, or make recommendations. Because in the confines of a meeting, it's very difficult to go through page by page. I mean, it can be open. I'm not trying to have a closed meeting. I'm just trying to say that going through details.
And I'd agree with you, Eric. I think we probably should set up a committee, as we did before with this, and put people on the committee and go over the RFQ. I think that'd be a prudent thing to do.
Well, how about I create a committee? Who would like to be on this committee to go over this?
I would like to be in the committee.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I'd like to comment that
Needs to
the
be
committee
less
should
than
be a
4
committee of the whole.
Okay,
The board operating procedures say that any board member can attend any committee meeting. So if you would like, any board member can attend.
any board member can attend, but we just we can't put everybody on the committee.
Why can't you?
So
It'd be a board meeting.
It's a board meeting.
it'd be a board meeting then.
Just have to post it.
It's still open to public.
From what I heard Trustee Carter saying is that in a subcommittee, you might be able to get more done without having a formal board meeting, I believe. I mean, if you have more than 4 people or more, you're essentially having a board meeting, and you're gonna have to post and do all that.
But that's okay. I mean, it'll just be a public meeting.
And under current board operating procedures, all committee meetings are posted anyway.
Exactly.
In order to cover the circumstance of if a quorum or more show up, that we don't have to cancel the meeting, you can still hold a committee meeting.
And I think, because at the end of the day, we're not gonna have a vote in the committee meeting. We're only gonna talk about what's gonna get passed on to the board. The votes don't happen until we come to a board meeting. Even if we have a posted committee meeting, we hold no formal votes at those meetings.
Okay, just as long as all members of the board can make comments and
Absolutely.
suggestions. Okay.
We'll have a committee that can bring proposals, and then the entire board can comment on whatever it ends up being. Okay?
So are we going to use this as our kind of template to go from and then just go
I have,
from there?
Mr. Dick has wanted to be on the committee. Does anybody else?
I do.
Okay, Dr. Troutman and Mr. Sumner. Okay, there's 3
I
people.
do.
Mike.
Well, I can't do 4. We're gonna do 3. So we got Sumner, Dick, and Troutman. Okay, you can certainly go. Okay, all right. Do we have that in your notes there, Ms. Cantu? Okay. Now, what we probably need to do is let's get this scheduled. We need to have this done because we would like to bring this back at the next board meeting, correct?
It says agenda item.
Yeah, there's no emergency. I think if I remember correctly, I think Dr. Moore wanted us to move real quickly on this, and that was kind of a compromise as whenever we were doing the language in the last meeting, if I remember correctly. I think that was something along those lines. So, you know, if we can do this quickly, if y'all want to do it quickly, if you don't, whatever. Whatever you guys want to do, is how I feel.
I don't see
Okay.
the rush. I mean.
Okay, that's fine. Then I'll let you 3 come up with it and let the department know when you're gonna do it so they can post it. Okay?
Well, we still had a motion to table to the next
Till
board
next
meeting
month.
on the
Right.
floor, so what are we doing with that?
You can, all that does, if the current motion on the floor, as Ms. Lee stated, is a motion to table this item to next month, which only means that it'll appear on the agenda next month. So if you all have not had an opportunity to meet as a committee yet, well, then you can pass on it next month and table it to the next point if you'd like. Or you can table it to a further time. It's completely up to
So
you
we
guys.
did have Mr. Sumner's motion to table.
And you seconded it?
I had not yet, I don't think.
Motion to table, I have made by Mr. Sumner, seconded by Dr. Troutman.
Dr. Troutman seconded.
Can we table it to November?
Yeah, a friendly amendment to the motion to table it just be specified that it be tabled until after the committee has a chance to meet and make their recommendation.
To the board meeting,
Put it on
after the committee has had a chance to meet.
So what we'll do,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think Diane's agreeing with that, so we need a new motion.
I'm saying November. That's when we would table till November.
Just table it to November.
So let's just table it to November, and if you guys need to push it.
Mr. Sumner, it's Mr. Sumner's motion.
Okay.
So if he,
Second on that motion.
so unless it's a friendly amendment. So Mr. Sumner's, will you agree for it to be to the November board meeting?
November?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Go to table this. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we have a handout that was in your packet. What?
That's the Sheldon. That's no longer on the table.
Oh, we. All right. All right, so I just been informed we have no executive session. So do I have any other motions you'd like to?
Motion to adjourn?
I have one motion to adjourn. I have a second.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? We're gone. I'm sorry, it's
Pretty fun.
3:47, or so, excuse me, 2:47.